all eyes turn to Erin tonight as Erin looks to potentially threaten the United States here in the coming days, potentially Wednesday. Tropical storm watches have been issued for portions in North Carolina, and today I what you need to be prepared for in the United States, and is another hurricane coming. I will break that all down in today's video along with severe weather, so just sit tight for me and enjoy today's video. And just looking here on satellite imagery, this is infrared, and today we actually have seen it get a bit more disorganized, but a lot larger. So it is definitely very large today. We do still have our eye in here. Now it's not very clear right now, but it is time, so it is going to be a lot harder to see on here. So we're definitely going to be watching this very closely as we move forward. And here's a look at the expected cone. And yellow means tropical storm watches. You can tell North Carolina, we do have some tropical storm watches in effect. And we can see here that it does look to make a very close run for the United States. And if we go ahead and head over here to the tropical storm force wind speed probabilities, you can see it is hitting portions in North Carolina. So we definitely need to be watching this, and we will likely be live on this channel. Now, will we be here the whole time? No, as I do have school, but we will have our radar up, and whenever we can get to live coverage, I will. And here are the most likely arrival time of tropical storm force winds. You can tell portions of southern North Carolina as early as 8 p.m. Wednesday, with the earliest reasonable times being by around 10 a.m. on Wednesday. So we definitely are going to be watching this closely as we have about a 12-hour gap between when wind speeds are going to be arriving. And we are also having to watch storm surge as we do have storm surge watches in effect too. Could see some storm surge up to 4 feet in some areas along the coast, with up to 3 feet anywhere from portions in northern South Carolina, the South Sante River, all the way up into portions of Virginia, like the Paramore Islands. So we'll definitely keep you updated with the latest. Now moving on to models, and models definitely have been in good agreement so far with Erin. You can tell GFS has this coming extremely close and clipping North Carolina before turning off to sea. And the European model is showing that same scenario. It is showing Erin becoming a bit stronger here in the next 24 hours before weakening and then going and clipping North Carolina. So GFS and Euro are in very close agreement as we speak, and that is why we do think we are going to see impacts to North Carolina. Here are the spaghetti models, and as you can tell, only about 50 to 100 miles offshore. It has gotten a lot closer today, and this shift west is going to pose some big time problems, it looks like. Here's our model intensity guidance. You can tell all of our models currently in agreement since we do have a Cat 4. And we are going to be on the downward trend, as you can tell here as we continue. By around Thursday, we are likely going to be in the Cat 1 to Cat 2 category and dropping fast. And by this weekend, we are probably going to be at low in Cat 1 or tropical storm intensity. And here is the landfall chances. You've been seeing this a lot lately on my channel, these custom graphics, and I have upgraded to a moderate risk of landfall. Now, this southern extent back here in South Carolina is a bit questionable, but I have decided to put a moderate chance there because we definitely could see some tropical storm force winds back there. And I've added it all the way up into portions of Pennsylvania, so we are definitely going to watch this closely. And as it says right there, all areas are subject to change. Here are your hurricane threats again. Tornadoes and some can be strong. Winds can exceed 175 miles an hour, and storm surge can be up to 20 feet or more. Now, this says hurricane threats, but don't get me wrong. tropical storms, we can still see tornadoes, and some of which still could be strong. We aren't really going to see winds exceed anything but 60 miles an hour, but we definitely can see a few gusty winds around 60 to 70. And storm surge, like I said, not going to be up to 20 feet, maybe 5 feet max. And here's your hurricane action plan. And we are in the 1 to 4 days out period. This is a yellow box. So definitely need to be monitoring the forecast. Make sure family and friends know about this system that is going to push in. Contact them, shoot them a text. Just make sure they're aware of the incoming threat. Make sure to go over your plan and grab essentials that you are going to need for this. And make sure to check with your reliable source. And now, after Erin passes by the United States, the East Coast, and the Mid Atlantic, our eyes turn to the tropics again and our main development region. The NHC has outlined a 60% chance of formation within the next 7 days. And this actually does have a 10% chance of developing within the next 48 hours. And this is definitely going to have a higher chance of posing problems to the United States. Now, there's still a lot of model disagreement, so things definitely can change. Some models have it taking a track like Erin, others have it going up through the Gulf, others through Florida and up through the Gulf. And then, like I said, some even have it curving out to sea. Some even have it riding up along the East Coast and heading into the Northeast. So we're going to take a look at that here. And here we are on the GFS in our upcoming system. Here is our system right here, currently spinning right now. It has a broad low pressure system right now. And actually, let's go ahead and make the pen size a bit bigger here for drawing this. So we do have our low pressure spinning right now. And this is forecasted to start to track a bit further to the west. Now, where it tracks is a bit questionable. But if we go ahead and pull this forward some, you can tell it's kind of going to dissipate here and weaken. And then, as you can tell here, it's going to develop a new low pressure system as it gets closer to Florida and kind of take a track like Erin, but become a lot closer to the United States. And as it comes closer, it is likely going to go through rapid intensification, and when it goes through this process, we're going to see it potentially go up through the Northeast as potentially a category 1 or 2 hurricane. Now, very far out, and definitely things are going to change, but just something that we need to watch. And we could even see another system spin up right after that. Now, this one may spin up in the Gulf, and that could definitely cause problems because our Gulf water temperatures are very warm. And I just wanted to show you guys now, will this happen? Probably not. Is there a chance? Yeah, it's definitely there. You can tell this starts to move into the Gulf as a very low end tropical storm, but as soon as it hits that warm Gulf Ocean temperature, within a matter of, so it's at 1002 millibars. Here it is 3, 6, I believe. No, so it is 6 hours. So here, so 6, 12, 18, 24. In the matter of 24 hours, it drops about 20 millibars. That is kind of crazy. That just shows you. And then within 34 hours, it drops to a 970. So that's almost 40 millibars. And that just shows you how warm our water temperatures are in the Gulf. And if this develops, this is going to cause big time problems. And here's the European model and what you can expect from this system behind Erin. And it's showing that same thing, that low pressure system. And as it gets closer, it's going to weaken before developing again. And now the Euro has this thing not really developing into anything major, but we're definitely going to have to watch it as there still is a lot of model discrepancy that we need to sort out. Now, turning our eyes to severe weather, this is today's severe risk that is currently ongoing. We do have a slight risk of severe weather, two separate ones, one from North Dakota, or one from South Dakota, and the portions of Colorado and Nebraska and Kansas. Back And then we have another one back here in portions of Illinois and Wisconsin. Large marginal risk from portions of Oklahoma back up into Wisconsin, into Colorado and North Dakota. And we actually are going to see a very brief area that we could see a tornado this evening. That threat is really dying down, but we are still watching it closely. Two 15% wind risks and a 15% hail risk. Moving on to tomorrow, severe weather dies down as we only have a marginal risk of severe weather. And I do not anticipate a upgrade to a slight risk at this time, but it could be possible if something changes overnight. And if something does change, you could probably expect that biggest change to come somewhere here in Oklahoma. And if that happens, I think that is likely where we would see that slight risk of severe weather back in Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, and Missouri. And one thing I wanted to mention is there is no tornado risk tomorrow, but I would not rule out a pretty large 2% tornado risk getting added across this area just because of storm motion. We will see that in a second. 5% wind, and I would not be also surprised to see a small 5% hail risk added back here in Oklahoma because supercells, when they first initiate, could pose a hail risk. And now the categorical severe risk wasn't updated for some reason, so I had to go over here to the probabilistic for the day 3, in which we do have a marginal risk of severe weather from portions of Montana back into North Dakota. So we'll definitely watch that closely. And here are the models and what we can expect tonight. We're going to see some storms that are going to linger into the overnight period from portions of Colorado and Nebraska, posing a bit of a damaging wind risk before those die out and our severe risk will be done for the night there. And here, if we go and head over to Illinois, we're going to see some re-intensification, it looks like, over the next couple hours before these storms do die off. So we are going to watch it closely, definitely, for you. And here is what we can expect tomorrow back here in Oklahoma. And around 12 to 14Z, we're going to be watching that time period for storms to initiate. And so this is around noon. And we're going to see some storms potentially go up near Tulsa. And this is where I would not be surprised to see our hail threat and maybe a brief tornado threat. Because as we can tell here, these storms are moving in a very weird rotation, kind of moving like this. So I'm definitely watching as this kind of is a clustery mess with these storms moving kind of like this. I feel like it may pose some problems. And if we go ahead and go over here to the STP, it's going to be very minimal tomorrow, but you don't need a ton of STP to get a brief tornado. And our surface-based cape, it's pretty low, but like I said, you don't need a lot to get a tornado, so don't let your guard down, although it is a very low chance tomorrow. And here as we move it to the east for tomorrow, we can see here storms are going to ignite, but it does not look to be too intense. We're going to see a few storms go up in portions of Missouri and Illinois into portions of Indiana, but overall do not look to be too intense. And we may see this marginal risk dropped off, so we will just have to see. I am going to try and update you around 5 a.m. Central tomorrow, so if you're up at that time, feel free to pay me a visit, as you would probably likely be one of the only people in my premiere. And two more things I wanted to add here before we end off, and one being, oh wow, our sub count just went up. So thank you guys so much for 1,083 subscribers. It is a dream to have gotten this far, and I'm hoping that we can hit 1,100 by the end of this week. And I just wanted to pull up WeatherWise real fast, as if you did not see, we have officially bought WeatherWise Plus. And so now I have access to the desktop app, and this is just a very cool thing. I love this, and I'm really looking forward to using this in live streams, as it is just awesome. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing down below. And you guys can expect to see WeatherWise Plus in action pretty soon. So if you want to stay tuned for that, and this is what we will be using for coverage, just so you know. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe and stay tuned for that. And make sure to stay weather aware, as we definitely have a few systems coming to the United States.